Well, the regular season is officially over. I have no idea where the year went, but it's now conference championship weekend. A number of games next week are going to determine a lot in the college football playoff. Unlike in previous years, where the majority of the playoff bracket is already decided at this point, this year is completely different. Despite 12 teams getting a chance to go to the playoff, a lot of teams are still unknown, with a lot of teams still in the hunt. There is a real possibility that we get a lot of chaos this weekend, and the College Football Playoff Committee will have their most difficult decision ever since the playoff began over a decade ago. So, with the strong likelihood of absolute chaos next weekend, let's try and break it down as best as we can. But before we get to today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. If you're watching this video, odds are you love college football, and odds are you are subscribed to my channel. So make sure to subscribe to one of the best college football communities here on YouTube. So as of right now, I'm going to break down teams into a number of tiers. There are locks, there are teams that are likely in, there are teams that are on the verge, and you also have your potential championship conferences that might get automatic bids. We're going to start with the locks, and right now I have 7 teams that are in no matter what happens next weekend. Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, and Ole Miss. Some of these teams are playing in a conference championship game this weekend, some teams aren't, but again, no matter what happens this weekend, these teams are going to be in regardless of what their rankings are. Up next are 3 teams I have as likely in. Now some of you out there may consider some of these teams as locks, and while I do think these 3 teams are more than likely, I'm not giving it a 100% chance just yet. But likely in, I have Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama. Up next are the teams that are on the verge, and I have 5 of them. I have BYU, Miami, Utah, Vanderbilt, and Texas. Finally, you have the potential conference champion, and I actually have 4 conference champions that are still fighting for a potential spot. You have the ACC, which would be Virginia, you have the Sun Belt, which would be James Madison, you have the American Conference, which would be Tulane or North Texas, and don't sleep on the Mountain West with UNLV. So those are all the teams, those are all the tiers, but as you can see, with only 1 week left in the college football regular season, and with a lot of these teams not even playing this weekend, there are a number of different scenarios that could cause absolute chaos for the College Football Playoff Committee. Now, over the course of the next week, I'm going to be posting more videos where I go more in depth on a lot of these different scenarios, because if we went step by step of all the different scenarios today, this video would be over an hour long, and I kind of want to break down just quickly all the different scenarios for you this weekend. The first matchup that's going to make things a little bit interesting is the SEC title game featuring Georgia and Alabama. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Georgia, they're a lock. Whether or not they win or lose this game, they are going to be in the college football playoff. Alabama, I have them in the likely category. If Alabama wins this game, they lock up their spot in the playoff as the SEC champion. Now, if Alabama loses, that's where things can get a little bit interesting. Now, me personally, I don't think you should fall out of the college football playoff by losing a game because you were playing in your conference championship. I get there are people out there that don't think Alabama's resume is good enough. Well, it definitely is good enough. They definitely should be in over some other teams that are probably going to be getting in the first place. But again, if you lose a game, I get normally you probably should fall a couple of spots, but I don't think you should be docked for playing in a conference championship game. Now, if Alabama were to lose and there is a lot of chaos surrounding them, maybe there is a chance that Alabama doesn't make it in. But in this situation, if they want to make things easier on themselves, they need to win this game. But like I said, if Alabama were to lose to Georgia, there could be some scenarios where Alabama, they aren't necessarily guaranteed a spot in the playoff. The next conference championship matchup that we want to keep our eyes on is between Texas Tech and BYU. I mentioned Texas Tech earlier, they're in the locks, they're in whether or not they win or they lose. Now with BYU, I just talked about this with Alabama, I don't think you should be docked if you lose in your conference championship game. If BYU wasn't playing in this game, they would finish their season 11-1, and it would be pretty tough to keep them out of the playoff. But when you look at BYU's resume, it isn't as strong as Alabama's resume. BYU, as of right now, has only 1 top 25 victory, and that came against Utah earlier in the year by 3 points. They played Texas Tech last month where they got blown out and they looked absolutely terrible. Now, if BYU were to come out and they were to lose this game to Texas Tech, and let's say they lose by 2 or 3 scores, I don't think BYU necessarily has the case to be a top 12 team, to be a playoff team, and get one of those at-large bids. And I think the College Football Playoff Committee would agree with me as well. So if BYU were to lose to Texas Tech, they likely fall out of the 12-team playoff and another team is going to get their spot. Now, if BYU beats Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship, they're going to be in, Texas Tech is going to be in, there are going to be 2 Big 12 teams that make the College Football Playoff, and all of a sudden now in this scenario, there is one team that is likely more deserving than BYU that is going to get left out. In this scenario, you have a number of teams that aren't playing this weekend in a conference championship game like Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Miami, Utah, Vanderbilt, and Texas. So they don't have another opportunity to add another win on their resume and give the committee one extra game of film. Now, obviously, the College Football Playoff Committee ranked these teams this past weekend. They're going to re-rank them again on Tuesday, and we're going to see which teams they truly think are better than the other. But again, a lot of these teams are going to be watching that BYU game, hoping that BYU loses and they fall out. The next game I want to talk about is the ACC title game featuring number 18 Virginia and 7-5 Duke. Now, this was talked about all on social media last night. I don't know how the ACC let this happen. I don't know how the ACC let a 7-5 team reach the conference championship game. I mean, this is flat out ridiculous. You have SMU, Miami, Pittsburgh, and Georgia Tech, who are also 6-2 in conference play, also who finished the season with more wins. You have a 10-2 Miami team, who probably should be a top 12 team at this point, not even playing in the ACC title game. Now, Miami is one of those teams who I mentioned earlier that is on the verge, and they're probably going to need some things to go their way in order to reach the College Football Playoff. Now, if they were playing in the ACC title game, it would be determined for them. If they were to win that game, they would get one of the 12 spots. If they were to lose that game, they would fall out, and they wouldn't be a playoff team. But despite going 10-2 on the season, despite going 6-2 in conference play, just like Duke did, they don't have an opportunity to play in the ACC title game, and that's flat out terrible. Now, in this scenario, this is where things can absolutely hit the fan. Now, as of right now, Virginia is ranked number 18. I don't know where they're going to be ranked in the next College Football Playoff ranking, but if Virginia wins this game against Duke in the ACC title game, they are going to get one of the 12 College Football Playoff spots as a conference champion. But if Virginia were to lose this game to Duke, that's where chaos would absolutely hit the fan. Now, in this scenario, Duke would be 8-5. There's no chance that they would be going to the College Football Playoff. I mean, I don't know how the playoff committee would rank a 5-loss team. Yes, they would be winning the ACC. Yes, they would be beating a 10-2 Virginia team, but there is just no chance that you can rank them. Now, in this scenario, if Duke were to win the ACC, all of a sudden now, you have 2 group of 5 conferences that could be sending an automatic team to the College Football Playoff. Now, the first most likely one is going to be from the American Conference. In the American Conference Championship game, we have North Texas and Tulane. Now, in the latest College Football Playoff rankings, Tulane was ranked number 24. North Texas, I know the last time I did a top 25, I had them inside my rankings. I don't know why the College Football Playoff Committee didn't rank an 11-1 team in their last rankings, but they didn't. Now, whoever wins this game, they're most likely going to be getting one of those automatic bids. Now, there are also some other conferences we need to keep an eye on. You also have the Sun Belt, and you have James Madison, who is also 11-1, and for some reason, not ranked. Considering they're a 21-point favorite against Troy, they're likely going to win this game, and if that happens, and they win the Sun Belt, they're probably going to get an automatic bid as well. But again, we have another situation where things could turn chaotic. Now, let's say James Madison somehow loses this game to Troy, they lose the Sun Belt. Well, I don't think Troy is going to be making the College Football Playoff as a 9-4 team. They're definitely not going to be ranked. Now, in this scenario, we have to look to the Mountain West. Playing in the Mountain West title game, we have UNLV and Boise State. UNLV, they aren't ranked, but they are 10-2 on the season. So if they were to win this game, if they were to win the Mountain West, they would be 11-2, and there is a chance the College Football Playoff Committee would consider ranking them. But in this scenario, and you have to choose between UNLV and Duke, who knows, maybe there's a chance the College Football Playoff Committee, they end up going with Duke over UNLV. So it's pretty simple. If Virginia beats Duke, they get the ACC automatic bid, and there's only one group of 5 team that can make the college football playoff. But even in that scenario, there are a lot of deserving teams between James Madison, North Texas, and Tulane. But if Duke somehow upsets Virginia, then you have absolute chaos, and you have 2 potential group of 5 teams that can sneak into the college football playoff. I did all of these different hypotheticals, and I didn't even talk about teams like Utah, Vanderbilt, and Texas, 3 teams that don't even play this weekend that are deserving of reaching the college football playoff. I know Texas does have 3 losses, but like Steve Sarkisian said this past weekend, had they opened the season against a cupcake team instead of Ohio State, this would be a 10-2 team that would likely be ranked a lot higher right now, and they'd probably have an easier path towards reaching the college football playoff. I get it, they lost to Florida, that's a really bad loss, but I do like Texas's resume. I also really like the resume of 10-2 Vanderbilt, who has been playing like one of the better teams in college football over the last month. I definitely think they're deserving of being one of the 12 teams that reach the college football playoff and are given an opportunity. But as you can see, the college football playoff is all but decided, and there is a lot that can happen next weekend. Like I mentioned, you have 7 teams that are absolute locks, maybe 8 or maybe even 9, but there are 3 or 4 spots that are still up for grabs, with 6, 7, 8, maybe even 9 teams that are still fighting for a chance to reach the college football playoff. There are going to be a lot of different scenarios that we're going to be breaking down this week, and I can't wait for that. Well, that wraps it up for today's video. What are your thoughts on how the playoff bracket is looking a week out? What do you think is going to happen, and what do you think the 12-team playoff is going to look like a week from today when the final 12 teams are announced? Whatever your predictions are, let me know in the comment section down below. Before you leave, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you're new to my channel. This is going to be an absolutely crazy week where we're going to be doing a lot of talking about the college football playoff. So for all the latest on how the 12-team bracket is going to look, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to drop a like on this video as well. It helps out with that YouTube algorithm, and it helps share this video and my channel with more college football fans. Plus, it only takes a second to do. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.